Hi everyone, it's me, Krystina Maria. Welcome to my channel, and I know it's been a while, and I could explain why. For 2.5 months already, after I posted my last video, I didn't have a laptop. Like, my battery charger got messed up, it got really damaged, and I had to replace it, and I already got my charger back, so that means I can do more content, which is good news. And also too, since December all the way to January, we've been having really bad earthquakes here, like almost every day. The worst one we had, pretty much the whole island had no electricity. I was fortunate I had electricity for 2 days pretty much, while others didn't have electricity way longer or even water. So that kind of delayed everything, unfortunately. And not just that, I have chronic rhinitis, so sometimes I have days that my allergies or where my sinus is at, I'm in so much pain that the last thing I want to do is put makeup on and talk in front of a camera, which sometimes I just don't want to do that. And then, lately I just been very depressed lately and extremely exhausted that I just didn't feel like doing anything that I like doing. Enough about me talking about my personal private life, which no one really cares. You can just care for the title of the video. So today's video I'm going to be talking about is Rihanna's eyeshadow palette. Just a mix and match Snap Shadows. I got the shade number 4, which is this pretty rosy shade here, which I love the color story in this palette. I got this pretty much the day after Christmas because I did not know what I wanted for Christmas, to be honest with you. I was like between makeup or The Sims 4. Since 3 Christmases already, I always get The Sims 4 for Christmas, like any new expansion pack or game for The Sims 4 that's like on sale during December, I'm like, I'll get that. But since I have no laptop, it was like no point for me to get that. I originally wanted the Milk Makeup MVP set, but unfortunately that got sold out right away at Sephora, and I couldn't order online, so oh well. So when I saw that Rihanna was doing eyeshadows, I was like, you know what, I'm curious, I am intrigued. Like, there's like 8 of them. They're like colors for everyone. Like, there's neutrals, there's cool tone neutrals, there's purpley shades, mauve shades, warm tone neutrals, peachy shades. But this one pretty much got my attention because the color story, I thought it was gorgeous. I always wanted like more shadows on the red and pinkish and rosy tones, in my opinion, because I really been into that. I just haven't found a palette that liked the color story. There was another one got my attention, was like a pastel one, but it was all shimmers, and I don't really like shimmer shadows only. I think Rihanna needs to do a full matte. People will definitely buy that. I would definitely buy that. But anyways, I got the number 4 one in shade Rose. It come with this cute black box on it, which, to be honest with you, I really wish the palette was the same color like the box, because I think in black it looks more prettier. Even though white's not bad, but it's gonna get really dirty, so I just kept the box with it. So it comes with this black box, and then when you open the box, it comes with this nice little pink cardboard to protect it. And then when you open the palette, they'll have a clear divider, and then it comes with a nice mirror, and then it's like 6 shades, which all the palettes have 6 shades. And this one in Rose come with 3 mattes and 3 shimmers, and the colors in the back are Sugar Shock, which is like this nice pale pink. The next one is a Little Miss, which really was the reason I wanted the palette, which is a like hot pink, but it's not really as bright if you can tell from the swatches. The other one is Stunt Queen, which is metallic red, which I fell over the moon for. And then the other one is Sugar Shock, which is a nice pale shimmer shade, which just, if you compare to Stunt Queen, it's kind of different. Like, Stunt Queen is like more chunky shimmer, while Sugar Shock is more like a shimmer shade. And this brown matte shade in Spice Trip, which is a nice unique brown in my opinion. In my opinion, I didn't think this brown should be needed in the palette. They should just put like a nice red, in my opinion, or another pink. I was like, I already have a couple of browns already. I already have like cool tone browns, warm tone browns, browns leaning the orangey side, taupey brown. So I didn't felt like I need another brown in my collection, in my small eyeshadow collection. But the only thing I like about this brown shade is it's like leaning on the red tone, so it's not that bad. It's pretty much needed in this palette, but I was just like, yeah, I really didn't need it. But here it is. The next one is Fiva Diva, which this one is a unique shade in my opinion. It's like more like, it's a matte shadow, but it has glitter in it, which is kind of nice, I guess. So yeah, that is the swatches. I did like 4 different looks. I'm not really much of an eyeshadow expert, to be honest with you, so if you're here to look for tutorials, this is not the video. This is just me that I was just playing with the palette for a couple of times already, and this is just my thoughts and my opinion. First look I did was on New Year's Eve. I was pretty much running late. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, like I had like 4 hours to like New Year's, so I was just like, okay, so I wanted to do something really simple, glittery but simple, so I used a NYX glitter primer, and I used this e.l.f. Flat brush that I usually use for glitter shades, and I used the shade Sugar Shock on both of my lids. It looked nice. It was really easy to use, but I did notice that it didn't really go on my lids completely. I had like do like twice, maybe 3 times to get a full capacity look on my lids, and I thought it was a bit like a bit too basic for the night, so I was between the shade Stunt Queen or Diva Fiva, and I decided to use Stunt Queen, which I think it, with that on top, made it pop. I just add another a thinner layer of the NYX primer, and I just put Stunt Queen on top of it, and I actually love it. I took a blending brush, blend on my lid, which was pretty much not necessary, and then I use a small liner brush, and I put the NYX glitter shadow primer on it, and I put it like on my lower lash line, and then I just put Stunt Queen all over that, and that was my look for the night. No fallout, like I say. I had no glitter particles on my face at all, like nothing. Like, I did my base first, so I didn't see no glitter fallout, which was really nice though. And then the couple of days later, I did another look, which was probably kind of crazy for me. Like, I did like too much. Like I'm very simple. So I use is the AOA Studio Lid Primer, which is like $1 $1, but does good wonders. So I used that on both my lids, and I used the shade Spice Trip for like a transition shade on my crease. Like, I really went out there with that shadow. That's when I realized, like, wow, this is not a typical brown. This is like leaning on the reddish side. After that, I used the shade Little Miss, which pretty much the reason I brought this palette, because I was like, oh, look at that pink. And to be honest with you, I'm not saying it's a hard shadow to use, but I would say if you're looking for something ultra pigment, like in your face, this is not it. This is like a subtle pink. I had to like play with it like 3, maybe the 4th time to layer and blend it on my lids. And after that, I did on my lower lash line the same thing. I put the shade Little Miss, and then I put the shade Spice Trip, and then blend shade Sleepover to like blend on, like going upper, like my brow bone, I guess, just to blend it, to soften it a bit. Then I took the NYX glitter primer on my lids, and then on the outer part I put the shade Stunt Queen on, pat that on, blend that in, and then on my inner corner and on my lid I put the shade Diva Fiva, which is like that, you know, that glittery shade that's like a matte. You know, it's really interesting. I never had anything like this in my collection, so it was kind of nice. So I did that, and then I did the same thing with my other eyes. I decided to, you know what, I want to try putting Little Miss on my cheek like a blush, which I remember Rihanna's makeup artist Priscilla Ono did that on a look, so I was like, I want to try that. So I did that, and then I was kind of confused because putting that as a blush, it was like really super pigmented comparing on my lids, that I really had to layer and play with it on my lids. But as a blush, I found it like very like in your face pink, like wow. So that was my second look. It was pretty much really out there. For my third look, I wanted something like very soft, pastel-y like, kind of very, very simple, I guess. So I used the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Eyeshadow Primer on my lids. Then I used the Wet n Wild ankle liner brush, eyeshadow brush. and I used this pale shade Sleepover. I just like pretty much draw my lid like a cat eye whatsoever, and then I just use that brush to like fill in. And then I used the Wet n Wild eyeshadow fluffy brush, which I don't know, I find that fluffy brush a bit big for my lids. I have very small lids. Like if I want to do a simple eyelid look, I probably need like a smaller eyeshadow brush, just saying. So I put that all over my lids. I did it with both. To be honest with you, I found, even though this is like the lightest shade in this palette, I find it's more pigmented and more easier to work comparing with the shade Little Miss, which is like that dark, shocking in your face pink. So I did that, and after that I didn't bother using the NYX glitter primer for this look, so instead I used my e.l.f. flat brush for shimmer shades, and I used the shade Shimmer Shock on the inner corner of my lid all the way to my lids. And pretty much that was just my look. It was just a basic look, very pastel, in my opinion, very simple, which I kind of like. Then my fourth look, which I have on my eyes right now, if you could tell, this was just, I just wanted to test out more with the pink shade, because, you know, I thought maybe the reason it didn't look that pigmented the first time, maybe because I was blending it with the brown shade of Spice Trip. So what I did is I used the AOA Studio primer, and then I just use this Wet n Wild liner brush, and I just stamp it in on the outer corner and on my crease of my eyelids, and I just tapped that a bit more until I was satisfied. And then I just took my e.l.f. blending brush and started blending it, and then using that blending brush to add more, patting more shadows, because you could tell there that it didn't really, you know, show a lot. It wasn't as pigmented. Even alone, I still had to work with it. So I had like pretty much like 3 to 4 times pat on my eyes and then blend, pat and blend, pat and blend, and whatever I couldn't like fill in on my eyelids, I had to go back and take the Wet n Wild liner brush and just like fill in, and then take the blending brush and then pat again, pat again. And after that I did the same thing with my other eyes. And after that was done, I just, you know, put mascara on, decided to put like a cute little heart liner and put a lipstick on, and that was pretty much the whole look. I have to be honest with you, I already played with this like 4 times already, plus swatching a couple of times, and my opinion is I'm not saying it's a bad palette. I think it is a decent palette. I think it's for people that are like more like softer shades, a more softer look. If you're someone that like bold colors or like in your face pigment, you're probably not gonna like this unless you're willing to like pack up and, you know, pack it up more and build it up. Then you will like this palette. Since like I said, I'm only very new to this. It's just like my first high-end eyeshadow palette. Like the only 2 palettes I own are like a Wet n Wild and a e.l.f. palette, which to be honest with you, I prefer e.l.f. formula of eyeshadow palette. I know that's kind of controversy because there's people out here don't like e.l.f. shadows at all. I'm those people that likes their shadows. Like I have their 18 pan palette, which I really adore. But this palette to me is not bad, but I think for $25 it's just not worth it in my opinion. I got this for $25, but with tax it went up to almost $30, which is like, at this point it's like, okay, $25, and with tax I only spend like almost $30. It's kind of like not worth it in my opinion, especially since I wanted the pink shade Little Miss to work with me. But if I know I have to like do this like 3 to 4 times and top it and blend it, compared to other shadows that was like really pigment, it, you know, it's a bit like like to me I would say $20 it's more worth it for this palette, or 18 maybe, because 25 and I have to pay tax. It was just like, this palette are worth it. To me, what sold me was this red shade in Stunt Queen. Like I think this is like an absolute gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous shade. I love red shadows, especially glittery red shadows, which is kind of awesome. I would say check these out in my opinion, but I think there's other eyeshadow palettes with the same story, probably work better, probably cost lesser and perform better, that you have to work with. But other than that, I am glad that I got the palette. Like, this got my attention. I did want to test it out, but I could have just avoided it. Only unique thing is, if you want, you could buy two and then snap them together, which I don't know if I mentioned in the beginning, but you can snap them together, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I really think it's so cool the way it snaps. Like wow. So imagine if you had like them together. But will I buy any more of these? I don't know. Like, maybe if she expands more colors. Like I said, the pastel one looks really cute. That's like the number 8. It's really cute, but my issue is it's all shimmers. I don't want a 6-pan shimmer palette. So if you make a full matte one, I might consider, but I have to like see if it performs well, because like I said, I brought this for the pink shade A Little Miss, and you know, that one I had to really work with comparing the other shades, unfortunately, which kind of sucks, because that's like the reason I wanted this. Like, oh, look at that pink, I want it. But I ended up falling in love with the shade Stunt Queen, that shimmer red, which I'm like, wow, I'm going to use that. And to me, the color story is very perfect for the month of February, for Valentine's Day, my least favorite month and holiday, but just saying, just in case. But yeah, other than that, that is my final opinion of these Fenty Shadow. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the looks, even though I think not everyone's into this type of looks I've been doing with these shadows. But if you do, that's awesome. Don't forget to like, comment. I want your opinion if you try these shadows. What's your opinion on them? Don't forget to subscribe for more of my content. That will really help me a lot if you subscribe. So yeah, anyways, hope you guys are having a awesome time. Take care. So I will see you guys on the next video, okay? Bye.